This is a story from long ago, back when Pokémon was still just a little-known Game Boy game. Surprisingly, the official study of Pokémon didn't begin in Japan, but actually in 18th century France. The people of Kanto even ate so many Farfetch'd that the species nearly went extinct. These facts, and many more hidden secrets, were uncovered in a rare Pokédex from 1996 that was acquired and translated into English at great cost. It contains extensive information about Pokémon biology, behavior, ecosystems, and evolution through natural selection. A few weeks after the release of Pokémon Red and Green, a book titled Pokédex was published in Japan. It was never officially released in the West. This book was published by Creatures Inc. and included contributions from the creator of Pokémon, Satoshi Tajiri. Ken Sugimori, the franchise's original illustrator, reportedly created the first set of Pokémon artwork specifically for this book. In short, it's an official and foundational document. Of its 140 pages, 46 are dedicated to an alternate Pokédex filled with exclusive lore, classification systems, and 150 entries that never appeared in the games, making it perhaps the most detailed Pokédex ever released. To ensure an accurate translation, the team brought in a professional translator responsible for localizing the first 26 Pokémon games and all their Pokédex entries. He introduces this early world of Pokémon, starting 2 million years ago. The translated introduction explains that Pokémon, also known as pocket monsters, first appeared around that time. The first organized research began in the late 1700s by a French scholar named Baron Targerin, who studied just 30 species but laid the groundwork for future research. From France, Pokémon research spread across Europeto, England, Germany, Spain, and Italy, thanks to advancements in transportation. By the late 19th century, Japan became a hub of Pokémon research. In 1899, Professor Nishinomori published a pivotal paper detailing how two previously thought separate Pokémon were actually evolutionary stages of the same creature. This breakthrough earned global recognition and positioned Japan as a leader in Pokémon studies. At that time, 80 species had been discovered. By 1996, due to the work of Professor Oak, that number had reached 150. Researchers had begun to understand Pokémon behavior, life cycles, and natural evolution. This guide examines the 150 known species, categorized by their natural environments, grasslands, mountains, and water regions. Each entry includes only confirmed facts. It also acknowledges that not all Pokémon species have been discovered and commits to ongoing research and future updates. The book is official, even if much of its content was never referenced again. It represents the earliest canon of the series. The name Tajirin references Satoshi Tajiri, and Professor Nishinomori is a combination of Koji Nishino and Ken Sugimori's names-to key developers of the original games. Nishino means Westfield, and Sugimori means cedar forest, making Nishinomori roughly translate to Westwood. This is the same Professor Westwood 5 who appears in episode 65 of the Japanese anime, and is said to have written all the Pokédex entries for the character Satoshi, likely a descendant of the 1899 researcher, although the creator stated that the games, anime, and manga each follow separate continuities, they often overlap. The Lost Pokédex is divided into 9 habitat-based classifications: grassland, mountain, water's edge, forest, sea, enigmatic, urban, extinct, and legendary. A Pokémon's environment influences its size, intelligence, and evolutionary pathevolution, here referring to Darwinian natural selection. Forest Pokémon are typically small and feed on fruits and nuts, while sea Pokémon have changed little over time, since the ocean environment has remained stable. Though this habitat system wasn't in the original Red and Green games, it did appear in the early prototype of the Pokémon trading card game, and was later reused in other materials. A slightly modified version appeared in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but after that, habitat classifications were dropped and never used again. The first and largest habitat listed in the Pokédex is the grasslands. Like every habitat, it starts with a short introduction. This one states that the country is home to many Pokemon species. 150 have been discovered so far, and the highest number was found in grasslands. Because of the abundance of food, grasslands seem to offer an ideal environment for Pokemon to thrive. Many of the Pokemon found here are friendly and calm. The first entry in this now abandoned official Pokédex is Growlithe. Entry 001, Growlithe. Friendly to humans and loyal in nature. When threatened, they bark and bite to defend themselves. The island of Cinnabar is well known for its many fire-type Pokemon, Growlithe included. Once an active volcano, the now dormant island has a unique ecosystem thought to have influenced the native Pokemon. Recent findings show that this Pokemon evolves with the help of a stone. The entry implies that Pokemon on Cinnabar adapted physically to the island's environment through Darwinian evolution. Later entries use more direct terms, such as evolution and survival of the fittest, to explain how Pokemon changed over time. A few pages of Professor Oak's journal are included, where he discusses Darwinian evolution extensively, even touching on human evolution. Oak mentions that he once believed Pokemon developed purely through natural selection, but his research revealed that not all traits can be explained this way, and some aspects remain mysterious. Entry 002 Ponyta. They have light bodies supported by very strong legs, allowing them to leap as high as Tokyo Tower. Though they are herbivores and generally peaceful, caution is needed when approaching them, as they can kick. You might wonder why Ponyta follows Growlithe instead of Arcanine. That's because Arcanine is not listed under grassland Pokemon. Instead, it appears near the end of the Pokédex with legendary entries, which will be discussed later, along with some stranger additions. The Kanto region in Pokemon is based on Japan's real-world Kanto. The Pokédex introduction and various entries like one that claims Charizard droppings can be found on Mount Fuji suggest the Pokemon world is either part of or parallel to Earth, specifically in the year 1996. This implies Pokemon's Kanto and Japan's Kanto are essentially the same. Entry 003, Rapidash. Ponyta's evolution. They can reach speeds up to 240 km per hour, keeping pace with the Shinkansen bullet train. They can cloak themselves in flames and are obedient. Entry 004, Meowth. Being nocturnal, they sleep during the day and patrol their territory at night with glowing eyes. They're helpful to trainers, often earning small amounts of money with their move, Payday. Although this entry doesn't mention it, the Pokédex frequently brings up varying intelligence levels in Pokémon. In a July 2000 interview, a development leader explained that Meowth's ability to speak in the anime was based on an intelligence chart drawn up during development. Pokémon with high intelligence, like Lapras, could understand human language, and those at the top tier like Meowth could speak it, suggesting Meowth might be the smartest of the original 151. Entry 005, Persian, known for being unpredictable and fierce. If its tail is raised straight up, it's a sign it's about to attack. Because of its beautiful coat, it's often kept as a status pet. Entry 006, Mankey, agile and highly temperamental. They can erupt into uncontrollable rage quickly. While generally in good spirits, even slight provocation can trigger aggression. Some researchers link this to a calcium deficiency. Entry 007, Primeape, the evolved form of Mankey. Always angry, they will chase their target endlessly. Making eye contact is considered dangerous. According to Oak's journal, the invention of Pokeballs is tied to Primeape. In 1925, a professor experimenting with his Primeape tried to extract its anger using drugs. Due to old age, he miscalculated the dosage, weakening the Pokemon to the point it curled up and fit inside a glasses case. This accidental discovery led to further experiments, eventually resulting in the creation of modern Pokeballs. Entry 008, Hitmonlee. Their legs can stretch and contract freely, allowing them to strike from a distance. Despite their fearsome abilities, they're gentle when not fighting. Also known as the kickboxing demon. Entry 009, Hitmonchan, said to be inhabited by the spirit of a professional boxer. Their punches are faster than a bullet train. Though their exact habitat is unknown, their behavior has allowed them to be classified. As a grassland Pokemon like Hitmonlee, it's worth noting that the English names Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan reference Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. In Japan, however, Hitmonlee is named Sawamura, inspired by 1960s kickboxer Tadashi Sawamura. Hitmonchan is called Ebiwala, after 1960s boxing champion Hiroyuki Ebihara. One Pokédex entry states that Hitmonchan is possessed by the spirit of a professional boxer, possibly implying it's Ebihara himself, who passed away in 1991 during the development of Generation the First. In contrast, Hitmonlee's entry doesn't mention possession by a kickboxer's spirit, which aligns with the fact that Tadashi Sawamura was still alive at the time. Sadly, Sawamura passed away in 2021 during the research phase for this information. Next is Pokédex entry number 10, Rhyhorn. Despite lacking intelligence, they possess immense strength. Their charge is powerful enough to destroy building structures, making them unsuitable as domestic pets. Number 11 is Rhydon, which evolves from Rhyhorn. This evolution allows them to stand on their hind legs, triggering brain development and increased intelligence. While this makes them easier to manage, their aggressive nature remains. Their horn is capable of piercing through solid rock. Following is number 12, Bulbasaur. They are born with a seed on their back, which grows larger over time. Researchers have debated for 6 years whether to classify Bulbasaur as an animal or a plant, a debate that mirrors the 6-year development period of Pokémon Red and Green. The Pokédex also references the game's development in other ways, such as the statement that Professor Oak initially discovered only 30 Pokémon. This reflects the early assumption that Game Boy cartridges could only hold data for 30 Pokémon. Translations of parts of the creator's biographical manga reveal that it was only due to assistance from a prominent game developer that the team was able to use cartridges with greater storage, allowing for more Pokémon to be included. Next are the remaining members of the Venusaur line. Number 13 is Ivysaur, Bulbasaur's evolution. The plant on its back matures into a bud, which absorbs nutrients and eventually blooms into a large flower. Number 14 is Venusaur, which evolves from Ivysaur. Its flower emits a calming, dreamlike fragrance that pacifies aggressors. The source of nutrition that sustains its 2-meter, 100 kg body is uncertain, but due to its behavior of basking in the sun and remaining still, many believe it uses photosynthesis. Some Pokédex entries are longer than those in the games. In the original Japanese versions of Generation 1, the entries were confined to a single screen. English translations, which require more characters, needed additional screen space. The localization team strongly advocated for a second screen in the English release to avoid cutting content. Even with this extra space, many entries were still tightly packed. However, this presentation is not limited by Game Boy constraints and presents full, uncensored translations from Japanese. Number 15 is Sandshrew. They live in burrows and curl into a ball when threatened. In addition to grasslands, they can also be found in mountainous areas. Number 16 is Charmander. From birth, a flame burns at the tip of its tail, and if it goes out, it cannot survive. In one piece of Pokémon artwork published in a 1996 issue of a Japanese comic magazine, a smoker is depicted using Charmander's flame to light a cigarette. These illustrations were inspired by Pokédex entries from both the games and companion books. Number 17 is Charmeleon, which evolves from Charmander. They use their tail in combat to knock down opponents, then attack with sharp claws. Their tail is strong enough to lift 5 adult Truffly, 300 kilograms. Number 18 is Charizard, Charmeleon's evolution. It can fly up to 1,400 meters using its wings, a claim supported by the discovery of droppings found midway up Mount Fuji believed to belong to it. Charizard breathes fire and can even melt boulders. Number 19 is Sandslash, which evolves from Sandshrew. It moves quickly and attacks using the sharp spines on its back and claws. Number 20 is Nidoran. Though small, it has poisonous needles capable of causing severe harm. Females have smaller horns than males. Their breeding season occurs in spring, and by the end of summer, they lay 2 eggs that hatch within 2 weeks. Is this conversation helpful so far? One male and one female baby Nidoran are only 10 centimeters long. These baby Nidoran appeared in a 1,997 advertisement for Pokemon Battle Pencils, a rock, paper, scissors style game featuring Pokemon moves on each side of a pencil. This version of the Pokédex includes hints about features and Pokemon that were possibly intended for Gold and Silver, suggesting that baby Nidoran may have once been planned but later scrapped, though this is speculative. The next entry, number 21, is Nidorina. As females, they are calm by nature and can emit ultrasonic cries that attract enemies. Although they evolve from female Nidoran, they lose the ability to lay eggs after evolving, even though breeding was not introduced until the second generation. Early 90s concept art indicates that breeding was considered from the beginning. Interestingly, only female Nidoran and the Nidoking evolutionary line can breed, while Nidorina and Nidoqueen remain unable to lay eggs, even as of Generation 8. Entry number 22 is Nidoqueen. Their bodies are covered in stiff, needle-like scales that rise when agitated. As they grow, they can learn powerful moves such as Mega Punch and Fire Blast. They are believed to be the final evolution of female Nidoran and require a special stone to evolve. Next is entry 23, Vulpix. It has 6 beautiful tails that multiply as it matures. It is thought to be related to foxes. The connection between Vulpix and foxes suggests a shared evolutionary origin, with Pokemon evolving from real animals and vice versa idea echoed throughout the Pokédex. The Nidoking line follows, starting with number 24, male Nidoran. They flap their large ears like butterfly wings to hear distant sounds and extend venomous needles when angered. During mating season, their horns glow in 7 colors to attract females, with larger horns being more attractive. Entry 25 is Nidorino. They anger easily and use their developed horns to pierce even hard materials like diamond. Unlike Nidorina, Nidorino retains the ability to breed after evolving from male Nidoran. Entry 26 is Nidoking. They are recognized by their tough hides and long claws, with venomous horns like Nidoqueen. Nidoking can also learn strong moves but tend to avoid fighting with Nidoqueen. Next is entry 27, Ninetales, the evolved form of Vulpix. Covered in golden fur and possessing 9 long tails, they are said to live for 1,000 years. A proverb says, 9 tails, 1,000 years, Blastoise, 10,000 years. This Pokédex mentioned Ninetales' 1,000-year lifespan before it appeared in later games. Based on the Japanese Kitsune mythical foxes that grow tails as they age, Ninetales' 9th tail appears at 1,000 years when they turn golden. Kitsune are believed to have spiritual powers, explaining why Ninetales can learn psychic and ghost-type moves. Entry 28 is Execute. Though they look like eggs, they have recently been classified as seed-like organisms. Some theorize they are connected to the plant on Bulbasaur's back, but this has not been confirmed. Entry 29 is Executor, known as the Walking Tropical Forest. Each of its fruits has a unique face and will. It evolves from Execute. Entry 30 is Cubone. They wear their deceased mother's skull and cry loudly when lonely. Their Japanese name, Karakara, is onomatopoeic, resembling the dry clattering of their head striking the skull. Entry 31 is Marowak. They can learn the rare move Bonemerang. While weak as children, they become more aggressive once they learn to use bones as weapons. Next is entry 32, Chansey. They lay several eggs daily, which are rich in nutrients and very tasty. Chansey are gentle and dislike fighting. Later entries mention that researchers conducted experiments, suggesting that they may have tasted the eggs themselves. Entry 33 is Tangela, a plant-type Pokemon covered in blue vines that conceal its true form. They entangle anyone who comes too close. Despite many attempts, researchers have never succeeded in removing the vines due to Tangela's fierce resistance. Finally, entry 34 is Kangaskhan. Females carry and raise their young in pouches on their bellies and are skilled in using Comet Punch. The entry notes that only females carry the babies, which is notable since all Kangaskhan are female. As mentioned earlier, several entries in this Pokédex make vague references to Pokémon and features introduced in Gold and Silver, such as Politoed and branching evolutions. Genders were first added in Generation 2, so it's possible the developers originally planned for a male Kangaskhan when this entry was created. The next Pokemon is number 35, Lickitung, standing at 5 meters tall. Its tongue is twice the length of its body. Normally, the tongue stays curled up inside its mouth, much like a chameleon's. When hunting or attacking, it can use its tongue like an arm. Its evolution may have been shaped by its lazy nature and constant hunger. A card from Korokoro shows Lickitung's voracious appetite. The Pokemon was likely inspired by the Akaname, a yokai from Japanese folklore known for its large tongue and tendency to lick filth in bathtubs. This ties in with the Pokédex entry that describes Lickitung cleaning filth with its tongue. Some Pokédex numbers hold special meaning. One theory suggests that Lickitung was made number 108 because, in Japanese, 108 can be read in a way that rhymes with shakuhachi, a traditional flute. This could be a subtle joke or reference. Although no developers have confirmed this, it remains an interesting idea. Next is number 36, Scyther. It uses its sharp scythes to lethally shred prey and can occasionally fly. Scyther is rare, with few documented captures. Unlike most entries that mention slashing, this is the only official source that describes Scyther as actually killing prey through cutting. Number 37 is Electabuzz. They consume strong electrical currents and are often found near power plants. Like Scyther, they are rarely captured. Both Pokemon can distinguish colors and have a noted preference for red. This Pokédex highlights that while some Pokemon see color, most likely do not similar to many animals in the real world. In episode 42 of the anime, Ash's Pokédex says Electabuzz and Scyther can see colors and are provoked by the color red, a detail not mentioned in the games, suggesting it was sourced from this book. Entry number 38 is Pinsir. It has powerful horns that, once clamped onto prey, won't release until the prey is torn apart. Pinsir is also extremely rare and appears to prefer the color green. Number 39 is Tauros. When charging, it strikes its own body with its 3 tails. Tauros usually won't attack unless provoked, and can be found in locations like the Safari Zone. Next is number 40, Eevee. This special Pokemon can evolve into 3 different species. It's difficult to classify due to the small number caught. Based on behavior, it was grouped with grassland Pokemon. The next entries cover the original 3 evolutions. Number 41 is Vaporeon. Its cellular structure is close to water molecules, allowing it to become invisible in water. It can learn Surf to travel across bodies of water. Number 42 is Jolteon. When startled or angry, its fur stands up like needles and can pierce enemies. It learns electric moves like Thunder, Thunderbolt, and Thunder Wave. Number 43 is Flareon. It has an internal flame sac and can exhale fire reaching 1,700 degrees Celsius. Like the others, its evolution is linked to a special stone. This concludes the grassland Pokemon section, the most populated habitat in Kanto. The other 8 habitat categories average around 13 Pokemon each. Many sections include details on Pokemon evolution, with entries becoming increasingly detailed as the book progresses. The next section covers mountain Pokemon. These species are found in high-altitude environments, usually over 1,000 meters above sea level. Many show physical adaptations to survive these conditions. They may also appear in grasslands or towns occasionally. The first mountain Pokemon is number 44, Onix. It typically lives buried underground and can tunnel at 80 kilometers per hour while hunting. Like other ground types, it's strong against poison moves but weak to water-type attacks. A diagram in the book compares Pokemon height to human height, with Onix shown as the tallest. This illustration clarifies that Pokemon height refers to total body length from end to end. Next are Diglett and Dugtrio. Entry number 45 is Diglett. They tunnel through When they move close to the ground surface, they leave behind ridged trails of soil that reveal their presence. You might see them appear in those tracks, likely searching for leftover food. They evolve into a group called Dugtrio number 46, which hides underground and attacks from another spot, catching targets off guard. Some researchers have classified Dugtrio, Dodrio, Execute, and Executor as a single category. Next is number 47, Geodudia, generally peaceful Pokemon that doesn't harm people, though it may get angry if stepped on, like in caves. They're also commonly seen during mountain hikes. Because of their round shape, people sometimes toss them in Geodude battles. There's an illustration of Geodude camouflaged in a pile of rocks by Benamaru Ito, one of the artists behind much of the book's art. Ito, who later used the name Ash, became the lead designer for 3D models in Pokemon Snap and Stadium, and also contributed to the Pokemon trading card game. Then comes number 48, Graveler, the evolution of Geodude. While walking on sloped mountain trails, you might see a Graveler tumbling downhill with a grin, but their eyes never match that smile, which can be unsettling. This is naturally followed by number 49, Golem. They roll downhill at twice Graveler's speed and are likely the next evolution. Golem's body is covered in a hard shell made of slab-like rock. They grow larger by shedding this shell once a year, and lucky hikers may stumble upon an old shell during summer. Next is the Machamp line. Number 50, Machop, has a body entirely made of muscle and is strong enough to toss around 100 adult humans despite its small, childlike size. Number 51, Machoke, is Machop's evolution. Tireless and strong, they're often seen helping with heavy lifting and other hard work. Number 52, Machamp, has 4 powerful arms capable of throwing 1,000 punches in 2 seconds. While thought to be Machoke's evolution, no one has ever seen the actual process. Typically, Pokemon evolve by growing, but recent studies suggest that Machamp and Golem do not evolve through growth. One of the book's illustrations shows Machamp delivering those 1,000 punches. The entries for Machamp and Golem both say they are believed to be evolved forms, suggesting researchers haven't yet grasped the concept of trade-based evolution. Number 53 is Magmar, a species that lives near volcanic craters and breathes fire. Their body temperature reaches 1,200 degrees Celsius. They are difficult to find in the wild, and only a few have ever been captured. Number 54, Snorlax, consumes 400 kilograms of food daily and immediately falls asleep afterward. Weighing in at 460 kilograms, it's the heaviest Pokemon discovered so far. Though it usually lives in mountains, it occasionally ventures into towns. It's known for eating anything, even moldy food, without getting sick. This trait inspired its Japanese name, which comes from kabi, meaning mold. The name was based on a developer known for eating anything in the office, even spoiled food yarning him, the nickname that became Snorlax's name. Number 55, Zubat, lives in dark caves in mountainous areas. Because it lives in total darkness, its eyes have disappeared over time. It navigates using ultrasonic cries. It's rare to see Zubat fly outside of caves. While people often say, blind as a bat, real bats can actually see quite well, even better than humans. But because bats live in darkness, they developed advanced hearing and echolocation. Zubat's Pokédex entry explains that it evolved to lose its eyes entirely in favor of echolocation. According to Professor Oak's journal, water-type Pokemon are strong against fire types due to their water-type moves. First in this group is number 57, Squirtle. When it pulls its long neck into its shell, it shoots water out forcefully. Water-type moves are effective against fire, ground, and rock Pokemon. Squirtle's natural habitat is unknown, likely because starter Pokemon in Kanto are only found in Professor Oak's lab, although its long neck isn't visible in the games. Later entries like Fire Red's Pokédex mention it. This is similar to other unseen features in Pokemon, such as Doduo's wings or Diglett's feet in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. They're not shown, but they do exist. This continues with the rest of Squirtle's evolutionary line. Number 58 is Wartortle, Squirtle's evolution. Despite their cute appearance, they are fierce in battle and are popular as pet. Their furry tails symbolize longevity. Number 59 is Blastoise, Wartortle's evolution. They defeat enemies by using their heavy bodies to crush them. While they are not quick due to their size, they have great strength. When threatened, they retreat into their tough, armor-like shells. They're dependable and can learn powerful moves like Ice Beam and Surf. Entry 27 for Ninetales mentions Blastoise living 10,000 years, which is a reference to the minigame from Japanese mythology turtle that can live that long and has seaweed growing on its tail due to its age. The minor game appears in a famous Japanese fairy tale. A fisherman named Urashima Taro saves a turtle being harassed by children. The next day, a minigame tells him the turtle was a sea princess and takes him to meet her under the sea. After 3 days, he returns to the surface to see his aging mother, and the princess gives him a box, warning never to open it. When he returns, he finds 300 years have passed. Everyone he knew is gone, and in his sorrow he opens the box. A cloud of smoke emerges, aging him instantly. The story ends with the princess's voice sadly reminding him that the box held his age. Wartortle is the one modelled after the minigame, with its furry tail taking the place of seaweed. A 2019 leak of beta sprites showed that during the development of Generation 1, Wartortle was originally supposed to evolve into a different Pokémon also inspired by the minigame. While Blastoise belonged to another turtle line, the developers decided to combine both lines, scrapping the original Wartortle evolution and an early Blastoise pre-evolution. As a result, Blastoise inherited lore about the 10,000-year lifespan that was likely meant for Wartortle's original evolution. Some of this lore was also passed on to Lapras. Next is number 60, Staryu. These Pokémon are usually seen on beaches at night, with their central core glowing brightly. They are hermaphroditic, having both male and female reproductive organs. If injured, they can regenerate lost limbs. Their evolution is triggered by a special stone. Number 61 is Starmie. Not much is known about them because they live in the ocean, but they are considered water's edge Pokémon. Some believe they may be extraterrestrial due to their geometric bodies. While Pokémon did not have genders in Generation 1, from Generation 2 onwards, Staryu and Starmie were classified as genderless. However, this Pokédex entry provides more specific biological information, stating they have both reproductive systems like hermaphroditic flowers. Following them is the Golduck line. Number 62 is Psyduck. These Pokémon constantly suffer from headaches, which can trigger mysterious powers. They can learn several moves, including Strength, Surf, and Dig. Number 63 is Golduck. Psyduck's evolution. With webbed hands, they are excellent swimmers and can be seen in lakes and similar habitats. Their sleek bodies are elegant, and they can use Hyper Beamer move not known to Psyduck. An illustration in the book identifies Golduck as the fastest swimmer in Kanto, though it does not list its exact speed. Their speed exceeds 90 km per hour. Next is number 64, Oddish. At night, they can walk up to 300 meters on their 2 roots. As plant-based creatures, it was unclear why they walked, but a recent study revealed they do this to help their species survive by spreading pollen as they move. The nickname Wakamendes is a Japanese pun that doesn't translate well into English. It plays on the name Archimedes and also breaks down into a phrase meaning, "We are walking men," referencing Oddish's walking habit. Next in line is number 65, Gloom, Oddish's evolution. Its pistol releases a terrible stench that can knock out opponents from as far as 2 kilometers away. A special stone seems to be involved in its evolution. Number 66 is Vileplume. With the world's largest petals, it disperses toxic clouds of pollen that trigger strong allergic reactions. Other Pokémon tend to avoid areas where Vileplume lives. It is inspired by the Rafflesia arnoldii, a real parasitic plant known for having the world's largest single flower and for its strong odor of decaying flesh, which explains Vileplume's unpleasant smell. Next is number 67, Krabby. Found near the ocean, they lift their large pincers to scare opponents during battle, but generally prefer not to fight. If one of their pincers is lost, it grows back. Following that is the Victreebel evolutionary line. Number 68 is Bellsprout, whose bud resembles a human face. Because of this, they are believed to be a version of the mythical mandrake root. They feed mainly on small insects. Number 69 is Weepinbell, Bellsprout's evolution. Its leaves act as blades for slicing enemies. It can also spit a fluid that dissolves anything. Unlike bellsprout, weeping bell can trap and consume larger bugs and birds, making their feeding behavior unusually strange. Number 70 is Victreebel, thought to be the evolution of weeping bell due to many shared features. Victreebel attracts prey with a sweet aroma, then traps and digests them with a dissolving fluid inside its mouth. This omnivorous Pokemon will eat anything that fits. It is based on real-life pitcher plants, which lure insects with nectar and drown them, though they mostly eat bugs. Some have consumed mice. Number 71 is Kingler, the evolution of Krabby. Its pincers have a crushing strength equivalent to 10,000 horsepower, but they are so large they make movement awkward. Kingler can also be found deep in caves. Next is the Slowbro line. Number 72 is Slowpoke. Always appearing dazed, it's hard to tell what they're thinking. They live by the water and catch prey using their tail. While smart enough to fish, they show no signs of higher intelligence. They swim underwater in search of food, but often end up caught themselves. Some people find Slowpoke relaxing to watch, while others get annoyed, perhaps reflecting differences in lifestyle. Number 73 is Slowbro. When a Slowpoke was bitten on the tail by a Shelder during foraging, it evolved into Slowbro. It's unclear why they didn't try to remove Shelder, but it's assumed doing so would have taken too much effort. Though capable of powerful physical attacks like Mega Punch and Mega Kick, Slowbro dislikes fighting and prefers to space out. An illustration shows Shelder on Slowpoke's tail, though it looks more like a Pokemon called Taboon from the 1997 Gold and Silver demo. It's speculated Taboon was once planned for Generation 1, which might explain why the tail creature never resembled a true Shelder, but this remains unconfirmed, even with recent leaks showing Tabernay was cut from Generation 2. Next is the forest habitat, described as a paradise to small creatures, rich with natural offerings like flowers full of nectar, fruits, and nuts. Many bug-type and small animal-type Pokemon live here, drawn by the abundant food. However, large Pokemon are rare in forests due to the limited food suitable for them. First up is number 74, Caterpie. When it sheds its green skin, it wraps itself in silk to transform into a cocoon. Among all known Pokemon, Caterpie evolves the fastest. Its natural predator is the small bird Pokemon Pidgey. If Caterpie senses Pidgey nearby, it quickly burrows underground. Those who can't hide in time get eaten. Despite the peaceful appearance of the forest, survival is governed by strict natural laws. Korokoro's 8 of Hearts card depicts Pidgey hunting Caterpie, and throughout this Pokédex, especially in forest sections, we get a sense of Kanto's food chain, which Pokemon consume plants, which feed on real-world animals like plankton and fish, and which Pokemon are themselves prey. Next is the rest of the Butterfree line. Entry 75, Metapod, is the evolved form of Caterpie. Though protected by a hard shell, its inner body remains soft, leaving it vulnerable to strong attacks. Being mid-metamorphosis, it also struggles to move. Entry 76, Butterfree, evolves about a week to 10 days later. Its wings are coated in water-repellent, powdery scales that allow it to fly in the rain of detail illustrated on Korokoro's 2 of Diamonds card. Following that is the Beedrill line. Entry 77, Weedle, is common in both forests and grasslands. It has a small, sharp, poisonous stinger on its head, around 5 centimeters long, which it waves to intimidate enemies. Weedle prefers eating ginkgo leaves. Entry 78, Kakuna, is a transitional stage, forming while preparing for its final evolution. While it once consumed many leaves as Weedle, Kakuna is almost immobile. Entry 79, Beedrill, emerges from Kakuna and can appear in swarms. They fly at high speeds and stab repeatedly with the venomous stinger on their tails. Once they learn the move Twin Needle, they become formidable opponents. Entry 80 is Rattata. Their long, sharp teeth grow continuously and must be worn down by gnawing on hard objects. They feed on nuts like walnuts and acorns, and also enjoy processed foods such as cheese and milk. Like real rodents, if they don't file their teeth down, their teeth may grow so long they pierce their skulls. eventually leading to starvation. Next is the parasect line. Entry 81, Paras, has mushrooms called Tochukaso growing from its back. These fungi grow in sync with the host Pokemon. Paras live under fallen trees in forests and later migrate to grasslands and marshes. Entry 82, Parasect, evolves from Paras and spreads toxic spores from its mushroom cap. In China, these spores are believed to be used in herbal medicine. Despite being considered a forest Pokemon, they are rarely seen in the wild. The real-world Tochukaso fungus can replace host tissue, alter insect behavior, and even kill them. Highly valued in Chinese medicine for treating fatigue and serious illnesses like cancer, the fungus can sell for over $1,000 per kilogram. It's also seen as an aphrodisiac, and its value has led to violence, like in 2011, when 19 villagers in Nepal were convicted for killing several farmers in a dispute over the fungi. Entry 83 is Venomoth. Its wings are covered in toxic powdery scales, which it scatters with each flap. Though said to live in the safari zone, their numbers are low and they're hard to find. Their earlier life stages remain largely unknown. Entry 84 is Raticate, the evolved form of Rattata. It has 3 webbed toes on its rear feet to help it swim across rivers. It eats nuts and fish. Entry 85 is Pikachu, one of the most well-known Pokemon. They live in forests and mostly eat nuts. They're rare and difficult to locate. Pikachu stores electricity in small pouches on its cheeks and releases it when threatened. Known for their intelligence and affectionate nature, they're the favorite of many researchers. While they evolve into Raichu, many trainers delay evolution to preserve Pikachu's appearance. In one illustration, Pikachu is strapped to a table with its cheek voltage being measured. This Pokédex highlights Pokemon diets extensively. For instance, Pikachu's nut consumption. Ken Sugimori once noted that a major part of Pokemon creation involves deciding what the Pokemon eats. If a Pokemon can't be imagined with a sustainable diet, its design is reconsidered. For inorganic Pokemon like Magnemite or Ghost types, the development team ensures there's a consistent logic. For example, ghosts might feed on spiritual energy or absorb it from the air. Over time, various designers have emphasized that every Pokemon has a defined food source, even if that detail isn't always included in the Pokédex. Lastly, Entry 86 is Raichu. Known for its powerful electric attacks, they can generate up to 100,000 volts, and touching them accidentally can even cause large animals like elephants to faint. This Pokemon can learn all electric-type moves. There have been no confirmed sightings of this species in forests. Next is number 87, Venonat. Its eyes function as radars, allowing it to stay active in the dark, and they can also emit light. It is confirmed to be a bug type and appears to have the ability to evolve, though this remains a mystery. Even though it shares a habitat with related species, the Pokédex splits up several evolutionary families, likely for formatting reasons. For instance, Vulpix and Ninetales are grouped to balance the Nidoran entries. However, the Venonat line is not only split, but presented out of order. Venomoth's entries describe its earlier forms as mysterious, even though Venonat is likely its larval stage. Venonat resembles a flea but also shares traits with venomous caterpillars that later become moths, supporting the idea that it is an early form of Venomoth. However, unlike real moths, there is no pupal form between the two, which may explain why their relationship is not officially confirmed. The Pokédex makes some references to the development of the first generation, suggesting that the missing stage might be a scrapped concept or one planned for a later generation, similar to how Poliwraith's entry hinted at an evolution that became Politoed. Another common theory is that Butterfree and Venonat were originally meant to be connected, and that Butterfree and Venomoth were swapped during developments, similar to a known mix-up in the Squirtle line. However, these theories lack concrete evidence, and unless new information emerges, the missing pupal form remains unexplained. Following that is number 88, Ekans. It uses its tongue to sense danger and swallows its prey whole. It especially likes the eggs of Pidgey and Spearow and occasionally eats Rattata. If it consumes a Rattata, it can go a month without food. It grows by shedding its skin multiple times, During winter, it hibernates in warm forest soil and is commonly seen in grasslands during summer. Number 89 is Arbok, Ekans evolution. This venomous snake has markings on its belly resembling a frightening face that scares off timid opponents. It is skilled at using glare, which can paralyze enemies. If encountered, it's best not to look it in the eyes. Arbok and Raticate are bitter enemies, fighting like a viper and a mongoose. Though this rivalry wasn't heavily featured in the series, it was later echoed in the relationship between Seviper and Zangoose in Generation 3. Some artwork by Benamaru Ito depicts various belly patterns for Arbok, which were also shown in the manga, each with different traits like enhanced speed or power. In the games, the Pokédex states Arbok has regional belly patterns, with 6 confirmed, but this concept was dropped after Generation 2. Only 2 designs were ever used in-game, and they have since been reused repeatedly in future titles. The next section covers sea-dwelling Pokémon. According to the Pokédex, these creatures haven't evolved significantly over the last 2 million years, as their underwater environments have remained largely unchanged and are more conducive to life than land. As a result, there was less pressure to evolve, and with some exceptions, sea Pokémon tend to have lower intelligence. Number 90 is Gyarados. It is extremely aggressive and destroys everything in its path with its hyper beam. It lives deep in the ocean and is rarely seen, with the last known specimen being a dead one found on a beach 35 years ago. It is omnivorous, has fangs that can crush boulders, and its scales are so hard they can be made into high-value jewelry. Next is the Seeking line. Number 91, Goldeen, uses its muscular fins to swim at speeds of up to 5 knots. It lacks intelligence and sometimes swims straight into the mouth of a Gyarados. Number 92, Seeking, evolves from Goldeen and uses its horn like a drill to hollow out rocks for nesting. It swims upstream to spawn annually. Number 93 is Tentacool. From its clear eyes, it can emit text cuts off here. They emit strange beams of light and consume plankton for nourishment. Their bodies are made up of 99% water. At number 94 is a creature with 80 tentacles that move freely to capture small fish. These tentacles contain poisonous needles that can cause paralysis. Because of this, they are sometimes called the Gangsters of the Sea, a name mentioned in an early animated episode, though not in any game descriptions. This term, like other early ideas, likely came from a Japanese sourcebook that has significantly influenced the franchise since its inception. Next is number 95, a creature with a thick, pale blue hide. It stays active even in temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius, often resting in underwater caves during the day and drifting in search of food. Number 96 is its evolved form, covered in pure white fur with a thick layer of blubber, up to 30 centimeters thick. It is extremely resistant to cold and becomes even more active as temperatures drop. Number 97 is a gentle, intelligent, aquatic, being capable of understanding human language. It avoids conflict, and instead helps people cross bodies of water by carrying them. It is adept at aquatic techniques, and can also use various moves like mist and powerful water blasts. Its rarity makes it difficult to study. Some believe this creature may be linked to old stories about a mythical turtle. Its design was inspired by ancient sea reptiles and folklore, and elements from another mythological creature also played a role in its development. This same tale later inspired another legendary character in a future installment. An accompanying illustration shows a child riding on this creature's back. It was among the first ever designed for the series, originally intended to function as a mode of sea transportation. Number 98 is a small shell-covered creature with an interior softer than expected. Its shell is tougher than diamond, and it uses a crushing move by clamping enemies between its shell halves. Number 99 is its evolution, known for an extremely strong shell so durable that it's said to withstand even a direct strike from a napalm bomb. It only opens its shell when attacking, using a powerful multi-strike move. This entry hints at a larger conflict in the background, possibly referencing a past war. Other clues throughout the series point to such an event, like mentions of electric creatures being used in battle and hints that some characters were military pilots. There's even speculation about missing family members as a consequence. The mention of napalm adds another layer to these theories. Number 100 is a small, slick creature with visible internal organs that resemble a swirl on its belly. It is closely related to tadpoles. The spiral pattern is actually modeled after the digestive system of real-life tadpoles. The creator of the series expressed a personal fondness for this creature, even stating a desire to cuddle it. Number 101 is its next form. While typical tadpoles grow into frogs, this one remained in its original form and developed muscles instead. It has strong legs, but prefers to stay in water. One page includes an anatomical diagram from a prominent researcher, indicating that these creatures have been studied internally in labs. This diagram answers questions like how many toes it has and where its mouth is located. Finally, number 102 is its final form. It is an exceptional swimmer, mastering multiple strokes and outperforming even professional athletes. However, its strength is specialized for swimming, and it is not very fast on land. Is this conversation helpful so far? Poliwag is believed to be the evolved form of Poliwag, though it remains in a tadpole state. Whether it will evolve into a frog form is still unknown, and further study is needed. This suggestion of a future frog evolution hints at Politoed, as leaked materials from gold and silver in recent years have revealed multiple Politoed designs considered during Generation 2's development. While a frog evolution was planned as early as 1996, its appearance and evolution method were undecided. At one point, it seemed Politoed might evolve from Poliwrath. A few months later, an interview suggested Politoed might evolve directly from Poliwag. In the final version, Politoed evolves from Poliwhirl when traded with a King's Rocken idea inspired by an early Poliwrath design that wore a crown. Moving on to the Seadra line. Number 103, Horsey, uses its curled tail for balance. When threatened, it can release black ink. Each spring, females lay thousands of eggs on seaweed, though most are eaten as bait. Unusually, the males take care of the young. Number 104, Seadra, evolves from Horsey. Its personality becomes aggressive after evolving, and touching it can lead to painful injuries from its sharp spines, which may even cause fainting. Number 105, Magikarp, is extremely weak and slow. It flails about using Splash when in danger. It's widely considered the weakest Pokémon. However, recent discoveries found dragon cells within its body, prompting excitement for future studies. Along with the Venonat line, Magikarp and Gyarados are uniquely listed in reverse order in this Pokédex. The videos translating this section cover 46 out of 143 pages in the book, which overall serves as a strategy guide. It includes watercolor maps of the Kanto region, encounter rates, and a full walkthrough. Despite this, the book avoids stating that Magikarp evolves into Gyarados, possibly to avoid spoilers, although that seems contrary to a guide's purpose. Alternatively, it may just be narrative flavor. A beta leak might eventually clarify whether these oddities relate to early development decisions, but as of now, it's unclear why only these two families received such treatment. Next is the Pokémon of the Skies section. The introduction explains that flying Pokémon have keen eyesight to spot prey from above. Many are attentive parents, traveling across forests, plains, and seas to collect food for their chicks waiting in tree nests. This leads to the Pidgey line. Number 106, Pidgey, avoids conflict. When surrounded, it scatters sand to escape. It hides in trees and tall grass while feeding on small insects like Caterpie and Weedle, though it strangely ignores Venonat. Number 107, Pidgeotto, evolves from Pidgey. It dives from heights of 800 meters to catch prey. Its strong claws allow it to carry prey weighing 25 kilograms back to its nest over distances of 100 kilometers. Number 108, Pidgeot, flies at Mach 2 at an altitude of 1,200 meters. On the ground, it intimidates foes with its impressive wings. It hunts even in oceans, preying on Magikarp. As the evolved form of Pidgeotto, its Mach 2 speed, about 2,470 kilometers per h, makes it the second fastest Pokemon in Kanto, slightly slower than Dragonite. The sight of Pidgeot hunting Magikarp appears in new Pokemon Snap, surprising some fans. Next is the Fearow line. Number 109, Spearow, is more aggressive than Pidgey. It searches for food in tall grass, constantly darting around. Though not very powerful, it can learn the rare move Mirror Move. Number 110, Fearow, evolves from Spearow. It can fly all day on its wide wings and has a strong beak capable of swallowing prey like Rattata whole. Then comes number 111, Magnemite, which floats as it moves. The side units emit electromagnetic waves. Though quite different from the other flying Pokemon, it's temporarily grouped here for lack of a better category. Further study is needed. According to Ken Sugimori, Magnemite was the first inorganic Pokemon created, based on a concept from Satoshi Tajiri to design a magnet-themed Pokemon. Lastly, number 112, Magneton, evolves from Magnemite and continues to float using similar methods. Do you like this personality? The origins of this Pokemon are currently unknown. It is composed of several Magnemite joined together and emits powerful magnetic waves and high-voltage electricity. Next is number 113, Doduo, a two-headed Pokemon discovered 3 years ago. They are likely a result of mutation. Despite being birds, they seem to prefer running over flying and can reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. There are concerns that their wings may eventually disappear due to evolution, potentially eliminating their ability to fly. Though invisible, Doduo does have wings, and the Pokédex in Pokémon Yellow notes that their small size makes flying difficult. The entry's authors speculate that evolution could cause their wings to vanish, similar to how Zubat lost its eyes. An illustration in the source material shows that both of Doduo's heads must cooperate for the Pokemon to function properly. Following this is number 114, Dodrio, Doduo's evolution. It is a rare species with 3 heads, each representing a different emotion: joy, sadness, and anger. Some historians claim that in ancient Central and South America, there was a religion that revered Dodrio as a sacred symbol. Despite extensive research, no evidence has been found to support a connection between Dodrio and any known deities from those regions. However, Dodrio bears a resemblance to the Rhea americana, South America's largest bird. The bird is named after the Greek goddess Rhea, who was the daughter of Gaia and Uranus, and known as the Mother of Gods. It's speculated that Dodrio's design could combine the Rhea americana with the concept of a triple deity, similar to the Christian Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Still, this remains conjecture, and there's no confirmation that this was the designer's intent when choosing Dodrio as a symbol. Next is number 115, Farfetch'd. They always carry a plant stalk, used for building nests and as emergency food. A study confirmed the stalk serves both purposes. Several years ago, news outlets reported that Farfetch'd, when cooked with its stalk, was a delicacy. This led to widespread hunting and a significant drop in their numbers. A 1996 issue of a Japanese comic featured a set of playing cards, one of which showed Farfetch'd escaping a kitchen. While the idea of people eating Farfetch'd may seem shocking, it's part of the Pokémon's original concept. In Japan, there's a saying about a duck arriving with green onions, meaning everything needed for duck soup has arrived conveniently. This phrase, often shortened to kamonegi, duck onion, is also Farfetch'd, its Japanese name. According to the Pokédex, mass consumption by the people of Kanto drastically reduced their population, which may explain why only one can be obtained in the game via a trade in Vermilion City. Fortunately, their numbers are recovering, as noted in the Crystal version Pokédex, due to increased breeding efforts to prevent extinction. The next section shifts to urban environments, the habitat of humans. It states that Pokémon in cities suffer due to factory waste, sewage, and pollution. Although many of these Pokémon are considered dirty, they bear no blame. Instead, they reflect how human lifestyles impact the world. This leads to the Grimer line. Starting with number 116, Grimer was formed when moonlight mutated toxic sludge. They are drawn to filth and were initially found behind factories and similar locations, but have since appeared more frequently and openly. Number 117, Muck, is usually hidden in soil and causes serious poisoning upon contact. Their cellular structure contains elements that defy what is known in biology. Muck is believed to be the evolution of Grimer. Then comes number 118, Porygon. In 1995, a company specializing in Pokemon-related research and development successfully created this artificial Pokemon using cutting-edge technology. Despite being extremely rare, Porygon became available as a prize at the Game Corner, prompting an ongoing investigation by authorities. Interestingly, earlier game versions only vaguely referred to its creators, but this Pokédex confirms that it was developed by Sylph Company, as also depicted on a card from a magazine. Given that the events of Pokemon Red and Green are set in 1996, Porygon had only existed for 1 year at the time. A 2016 Pokédex entry from Pokemon Sunday mentions that Porygon was created about 20 years earlier using the most advanced technology available then. This consistency suggests that the timeline of the Pokemon world closely aligns with our own, at least in this case. In 1996, and later in the events of Sunday and Moon in 2016, Pokemon number 119 is coughing. Its delicate, balloon-like body is filled with a highly toxic gas. Being near this foul-smelling Pokemon can cause a person's eyes to fill with tears. Coughing was first discovered in a munitions factory, and its habitat has expanded over the years. The fact that coughing was found in a munitions factory and that Cloyster survived a napalm bombing gives more insight into the nature of warfare in the Pokemon world. Some early development leaks also revealed a trainer class called Soldier, intended for gold and silver, though it was removed before release. Next is number 120, Wheezing. In rare cases, 2 coughing can mutate into a conjoined form. Research labs are working on a medicine that can remove its toxic properties. Within the Pokemon world, these Pokemon remain mysterious. The findings available so far begin with number 126, Abra. Abra sleeps 16 hours a day, yet can still use various extrasensory powers even while asleep. They are rarely seen due to their low numbers and will teleport away if they sense danger, making them hard to catch. Abra evolves into number 127, Kadabra. According to the entry, a boy with psychic powers woke one morning to find he had transformed into a Kadabra. This story, titled The Transformation, won 2nd place in a Pokemon literary contest and is a parody of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, in which a man wakes up to find he has become an insect. Kadabra's entry closely mimics the opening line of Kafka's novel. A boy waking up as a Kadabra is one of the clearer examples of the Pokédex contradicting itself. Rather than treating it as a fictional story, the original Red and Green games presented it as a real event. A psychic boy wakes up one day to find himself turned into a Kadabra. Later entries in Emerald, Fire Red, and Sunday all offered slightly different versions of this account. A literal transformation like this seems implausible, even in the Pokemon universe, so it was likely intended as a fictional tale from the beginning, possibly abbreviated to fit the limited space of the in-game Pokédex. Still, interpretations vary, and some might try to justify the inconsistency. An old Korokoro card, 8 of Clubs, even features an illustration of what this transformation might have looked like. Next is number 128, Alakazam. Known for avoiding physical combat, it uses powerful psychic abilities in battle. Though widely accepted as Kadabra's evolution, this hasn't been definitively proven. Alakazam is said to keep a blank expression throughout fights. Next, the Clefable line. Number 129, Clefairy, is a beloved pet due to its charming appearance. Not only humans but even other Pokemon are fond of it. However, they're rare and have only been found in Mount Moon's caves. Clefairy is known for its use of metronome, which triggers a random move. Sometimes the results can surprise even Clefairy itself, producing unexpectedly powerful attacks that clash with its cute look. Number 130, Clefable, along with Clefairy, avoids conflict. Their exceptional hearing is so sharp they can hear a pin drop from a kilometer away. If they sense danger, they quickly retreat. Next is number 131, Ditto. It can transform into any life form by rearranging its cells, but has very few of its own moves. Ditto is considered one of the most mysterious Pokémon. Within the Pokémon world, these Pokémon remain mysterious. The findings available so far begin with number 126, Abra. Abra sleeps 16 hours a day, yet can still use various extrasensory powers even while asleep. They are rarely seen due to their low numbers and will teleport away if they sense danger, making them hard to catch. Abra evolves into number 127, Kadabra. According to the entry, a boy with psychic powers woke one morning to find he had transformed into a Kadabra. This story, titled The Transformation, won second place in a Pokémon literary contest and is a parody of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, in which a man wakes up to find he has become an insect. Kadabra's entry closely mimics the opening line of Kafka's novel. A boy waking up as a Kadabra is one of the clearer examples of the Pokédex contradicting itself, rather than treating it as a fictional story. The original Red and Green games presented it as a real event. A psychic boy wakes up one day to find himself turned into a Kadabra. Later entries in Emerald, Fire Red, and Sunday all offered slightly different versions of this account. A literal transformation like this seems implausible, even in the Pokémon universe, so it was likely intended as a fictional tale from the beginning, possibly abbreviated to fit the limited space of the in-game Pokédex. Still, interpretations vary, and some might try to justify the inconsistency. An old Korokoro card, 8 of clubs, even features an illustration of what this transformation might have looked like. Next is number 128, Alakazam. Known for avoiding physical combat, it uses powerful psychic abilities in battle. Though widely accepted as Kadabra's evolution, this hasn't been definitively proven. Alakazam is said to keep a blank expression throughout fights. Next, the Clefable line. Number 129, Clefairy, is a beloved pet due to its charming appearance. Not only humans, but even other Pokémon are fond of it. However, they're rare and have only been found in Mount Moon's caves. Clefairy is known for its use of metronome, which triggers a random move. Sometimes the results can surprise even Clefairy itself, producing unexpectedly powerful attacks that clash with its cute look. Number 130, Clefable, along with Clefairy, avoids conflict. Their exceptional hearing is so sharp they can hear a pin drop from a kilometer away. If they sense danger, they quickly retreat. Next is number 131, Ditto. It can transform into any life form by rearranging its cells but has very few of its own moves. Ditto is considered one of the most mysterious Pokémon. Number 132, Mr. Mime, uses advanced moves like Confusion, Light Screen, Meditate, and Substitute. Its miming skills are so convincing, it's said the invisible walls it pretends to build become real. The suction pads on its fingers allow it to climb these walls. Research is limited due to how rare Mr. Mime is. An old Korokoro card, 7 of clubs, shows Mr. Mime climbing one of its unseen barriers. During the localization of the first generation games, there was internal disagreement about naming this Pokémon Mr. Mime. The concern was that, if Pokémon ever had genders, the name might not make sense. This turned out to be accurate, as the second generation introduced female Mr. Mime. In the first generation, it was only obtainable through trade, and in some local versions, this Mr. Mime was named Marcel. A Galarian Mr. Mime in Sword and Shield's Winden is also named Marcel. Both names are references to Marcel Marceau, a Jewish mime who joined the French resistance during World War II, saved children from concentration camps, and became a national treasure in Japan for both his wartime heroism and his renowned miming talent. Now, the Wigglytuff line, number 133, Jigglypuff, with its large round eyes, catches an opponent's gaze and sings a gentle lullaby to put them to sleep. Despite their cute look, they have access to a broad range of moves. If upset, they puff up like a balloon. The book includes art showing multiple Jigglypuffs singing together, which supposedly triples the sleep-inducing effect. Number 134, Wigglytuff, has incredibly soft and luxurious fur that is considered high-end. It shares many of Jigglypuff's moves, but also learns Hyper Beam. Number 135, Drowsy, is said to descend from the mythical Baku, which eats dreams. Drowsy is known as the first Pokémon to use the move combo of Hypnosis and Dream Eater. It's a herbivore with 4 stomachs that regurgitates and rechews food. Its appearance makes it unpopular, especially among women, and it tends to mumble to itself. The Baku is a creature from Japanese mythology, believed to have been made from leftover parts of other animals. Modern depictions show it as a tapir. Drowsy's connection to the Baku implies that in the Pokémon world, mythological beings coexist with real animals and Pokémon can descend from them. One illustration in the book shows researchers testing whether Drowsy can hypnotize itself, and an old Korokoro card, Jack of Diamonds, depicts Drowsy eating a child's dreams. Following that is number 136, Hypno, the evolution of Drowsy. Is this conversation helpful so far? A pendulum-like creature known for its psychic abilities is commonly seen in towns where sudden spikes in child disappearances occur. Its tendency to abduct children was later incorporated into a storyline in Fire Red and Leaf Green, where the player must rescue a girl named Lostel from its grasp. Another member of this group is number 137, a very rare Pokémon that becomes violently angry if the cloth-like garment around its waist is disturbed, suggesting it experiences shame. Though it speaks in a human-like way, its language cannot be understood. Linguistic studies are ongoing, and its trading cards show glimpses of this speech. The next group includes Pokémon classified as extinct. According to the book, Pokémon first appeared about 2 million years ago, adapting to the changing environment over time. Fossils have allowed scientists to reconstruct their appearance. First in this category is number 138, Aerodactyl, considered the ancestor of birds. It stood 8 meters tall, flew with large wings, and emitted high-pitched cries. Its large brain suggests it communicated vocally. Its sharp teeth and claws indicate it was a carnivore preying on smaller creatures. Recently discovered fossilized droppings support this theory. The concept of extinct Pokémon seems influenced by the 1993 film Jurassic Park, where scientists revived dinosaurs using DNA from mosquitoes preserved in amber. The item used to resurrect Aerodactyl is called Old Amber, which even shows a mosquito trapped inside. Although the creators have cited Japanese shows and monster films as influences, it's likely they also drew from this American movie. There is a potential inconsistency in the lore. Aerodactyl is described as the ancestor of birds, yet a later Pokémon introduced in Generation 5, Archon, is also labelled as the origin of all bird Pokémon. In 2018, developers were asked whether Pokémon evolved through natural selection and responded that they weren't sure. Still, Darwinian evolution is a recurring theme in the series. From the original book in 1996 to later entries like Archon's and even Skorupi's, the creators have stated that the Pokémon world's rules aren't fixed, suggesting they don't prioritize strict continuity. Despite inconsistencies in newer media, this book published by Creatures Inc., with input from the series, Creator can be considered part of the original canon. Next is the Omastar line, number 139. Omanite resembled a mix between sea snails and squids, and swam in ancient oceans using its 10 limbs. It fed on plankton and small fish. Number 140. Omastar, believed to be its evolution, grew to about 1 meter and preyed on fish up to 50 centimeters long, using its tentacles to grab and bite its prey. Then comes number 141, Kabuto, thought to be the ancestor of both hermit crabs and turtles. It protected itself with a hard shell and generally avoided conflict. Though not fast, it was a capable swimmer. A fossil found recently in a mountain cave 1,000 meters above sea level revealed that the area was once underwater. This entry indicates a reversal in evolution, with real-world animals evolving from Pokémon. Number 142, Kabutops, evolved from Kabuto and was a skilled swimmer and hunter, using its blade-like arms to drain prey of fluids. Its temperament changed from shy to aggressive after evolving. The connection between Kabuto and Kabutops mirrors that between Mogwai and Gremlins. A single Kabutops fossil, dated to around 2 million years ago, makes it the oldest known Pokemon. The movie that the protagonist's mother watches in the original game is Stand By Me, 1986, and references to the 1984 film Gremlins suggest such influences are present in the Pokemon universe. Mogwai, in mythology, are a type of demon. In the movie, the creatures are initially cute and furry, but transform into malevolent gremlins that torment and kill humans. Similarly, Kabuto is portrayed as a harmless little creature, while Kabutops is its dangerous counterpart. An illustration in the book shows Kabutops using its size to impale a large prehistoric sea creature and drain its fluids, an event suggested to have occurred around 2 million years ago. Moving on to the Pokédex's final classification, Legendary Pokémon. It mentions that many Pokémon are part of myths and legends, with the Phoenix being the most well-known. Previously, belief in such Pokémon was rare, but since the discovery of Dratini, skepticism has decreased. Now, researchers continuously set out on expeditions, convinced that these legends are real. The legendary birds are introduced first. Number 143, Articuno, flies through snowy mountains, its long tail streaming behind. Folklore claims that witnessing an Articuno in flight can leave a person so captivated that they become frozen in place. Number 144, Zapdos, is said to fly with a sound like buzzing and cracking electricity. As a divine bird of the skies, Zapdos is thought to have dwelled above the clouds for thousands of years, and its lightning may be an expression of anger. Zapdos likely draws inspiration from the Thunderbird of Native American mythology, a powerful figure associated with thunder and lightning. Its design, especially in early game sprites and artwork, resembles the X shape often used to depict the Thunderbird. Next is number 145, Moltres, associated with the Phoenix, a legendary bird whose blood was believed to grant immortality. If Moltres were real, its blazing wings would surely awe onlookers. The concept of drinking phoenix blood for eternal life doesn't originate from traditional mythology, but rather from an unfinished manga series titled Phoenix by Osamu Tezuka. Known as the godfather of manga, and often compared to Walt Disney, Tezuka began this series in the 1950s. Over 30 years, he completed 12 volumes, each telling a different story of people seeking the phoenix for immortality. However, in each tale, eternal life turns out to be a curse, and the goal remains unreachable. The stories take place either far in the past or future, gradually converging toward the present. Tezuka viewed Phoenix as his life's work, but passed away in 1989 before finishing it. His final words, spoken to a nurse trying to take away his drawing tools, were a plea to continue working. The Pokédex claims the Phoenix legend is based on Moltres, but it's more likely that Moltres is inspired by the Phoenix and, by extension, Tezuka's story. Game Freak often creates a Pokemon's design first and then builds lore around it, so the lore may have followed the creation of the elemental birds. Following this is number 146, Arcanine. Classified as a legendary Pokemon rooted in Chinese folklore, paper charms featuring Arcanine are believed to ward off evil. A diagram in the book lists Arcanine as the fastest runner in Kanto. Later Pokédex entries claim it can run 10,000 kilometers in 24 hours, equating to about 417 kilometers per hour. A card from Korokoro magazine also depicts these protective paper charms. Arcanine draws from Chinese guardian lion figures known as Shishi, as well as similar figures in Japanese culture, such as Shisa and Komenu. These mythical lion dogs have guarded temples and sacred sites across Asia for over 1,000 years. Though Mew is the only mythical Pokemon from Kanto, most fans recognize the three birds and Mewtwo as the region's legendaries. However, there's no strict definition of what constitutes a legendary Pokemon. According to fan sources like Bulbapedia, the only reliable indicator is recognition by official media. This book, being an official source, refers to Arcanine as a legendary Pokemon. In-game Pokédex entries do the same, and an early anime episode, shows an engraving of Arcanine alongside the 3 legendary birds. The term legendary appears only 6 times in the original games, and only once is Arcanine excluded by a bird keeper who refers exclusively to bird Pokémon and seems unaware of Mewtwo. A year later, the Dragonite family was also referred to as legendary Pokémon, and Dratini was described as the first legendary ever discovered. Dragons are usually categorized as pseudo-legendaries, but that label was entirely created by fans. If we disregard fan theories and focus only on official sources, there's a case to be made that Kanto originally had 8 legendary Pokémon, 3 birds, 3 dragons, Arcanine, and Mewtwo. This may have been the developer's original intent in the mid-1990s, though that view seems to have shifted over time. For example, in later generations, the GTS filter allows players to exclude those looking for legendary Pokémon, and neither Arcanine nor the dragons are included on that list. Next is number 147, Dratini. A visitor to the Safari Zone happened to catch a Dratini in one of the ponds. The discovery quickly made headlines around the world and led many to believe that legendary Pokémon truly existed. This sparked a global wave of Pokémon expeditions. Even when young, Dratini can grow nearly 2 meters long and continue growing by shedding repeatedly. This initial Dratini sighting was later expanded on in another Japanese book the following year. It included an illustration and a caption noting that some Pokémon once thought to exist only in myths and legends were now believed to be real after the story of the Court Dratini spread, increasing the number of researchers convinced of its existence. The text also mentioned rumors of unidentified creatures worldwide that might be Pokémon. Then comes number 148, Dragonair. These Pokémon live in seas and lakes and can summon rain and snow. Despite lacking wings, they are said to fly high in the sky. Dragonair's Japanese name, Hakuryu, translates to white dragon in English. This name likely stems from its early beta design, which was shown on Game Freak's official Japanese website in 1997. In early development, it was literally designed as a white dragon, and an artistic recreation was made to envision what that original concept might have looked like if it had been finalized. Now for number 149, Dragonite. Despite their bulky bodies, they can circle the Earth in roughly 16 hours. They are said to symbolize the god of destruction. Traveling around the world in that time gives Dragonite a top speed of about 2,505 kilometers per hour. A chart from the book ranks Dragonite as the fastest creature, just edging out a fighter jet. Finally, number 150, Mewtwo. There is an urban legend about a scientist whose genetic experiments created a brutal and powerful Pokémon. The story questions whether such a terrifying creature could actually exist. As for Pokémon number 151, Mew, it's not included in the Pokédex, though it is briefly mentioned in a journal as a mysterious, newly discovered Pokémon. Information about Mew's development and story appears across various books, interviews, and radio broadcasts.